So let's get right into this here. This is your unauthorized, right, biography of Phil Mickelson, the rip-roaring and unauthorized biography of golf's most colorful superstar, Phil. What's the context of the quote and everything that's going on? If you want to start with that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much your listeners have been tuned into the Saudi Golf League, but this has been bubbling up for the better part of a year, and Phil has been in the middle of all of it. As he told me, he actually helped pay for the attorney that would write the operating agreement of the SGL, which was a bold move considering the PGA Tour has always been his home and has been a great platform for him to build a fortune and reach the Hall of Fame. But Phil loves to stir the pot, and he likes to be the smartest guy in the room. So, he recognized that the Saudi Golf League was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime chance to have some leverage over the tour and try and force the tour to make some changes that would benefit all the players, but especially him. And so he was working both sides of the street. And what Phil wanted, what was in his heart, was really one of the big questions in golf. He told me all of that, and it was all going in the book. As the Saudi Golf League was coming to a boil, it felt like, my book's not coming out till May, and this was just too important to the discourse of what's really going on in the world of golf right now. So we dropped the excerpt a couple weeks ago, last week, and things have gone a little crazy since then. But, to some degree, I'm surprised by the blowback on Phil, because it was pretty obvious all along what he was doing, which was trying to play the Saudis against the tour and see what kind of deal he could cut for himself. I mean, everybody who was paying attention knew that, but he said the quiet parts out loud, and that was so eye-catching. And raw, unvarnished truth is a precious commodity in sports these days, and Phil just put it out there. So the blowback has been so much that he's taken a little time away to let things cool down and reassess and plot his next move. But it's definitely been an interesting chapter in his career, and certainly it's an interesting chapter in the book.
All right, so then let's get into a little bit about what Phil said, and then fill in, maybe backfill about what this, no pun intended, about what this beef with the PGA Tour is all about. Alan Shipnuck, the writer of the book Phil, from which this quote that has led to the firestorm, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. The quote in question, it appears from Phil's statement yesterday, was, he said, off the record. I'll give you the floor on that, Alan.
Well, patently false and disappointing, because, I mean, Phil knew all this was for the book. He was, first of all, you have to understand Phil's motivation is he wanted to go on record with his true feelings, because then he was covered either way. By calling the Saudis scary mofos and acknowledging some of their atrocities, that's his signal to golf fans. If he wound up going over there and taking the money, at least he would have registered some sort of a conscience and some sort of a understanding of global affairs, and that this is just strictly a business decision, and he wanted people to know that. If he stayed with the PGA Tour, it might have looked like a defeat, but he wanted fans to know that he'd extracted all these concessions and that he was really working hard behind the scenes to get what he wanted. Because Phil just has this need to be the loudest voice in the room and certainly the smartest one. That's just part of his personality. It makes him fun to be around, but it also gets him in trouble. But he initiated this conversation with me. It is an unauthorized biography, and 3 times I approached him face to face to sit for interviews for the book, and he declined, which was his prerogative, and that was fine because I'd had so much access to Phil through the years, I didn't really need him. But as this Saudi stuff was heating up and he realized it was going to really impact his legacy in the sport, he wanted to make his feelings known to me. He asked if we could speak. I said, yes, of course, even though he said he only wanted to talk about these issues, and there's other things I would have rather gotten into, but he was kind of setting the ground rules, so I said fine. And not once did he ask to go off the record, and I certainly never consented to that. And it's a two-way street, when you're doing an interview. If he had asked, I certainly would have pushed back, because this is my one chance to talk to him for the book. but he just started talking. And, I think Phil, in his mind, this wasn't going to come out until May when the book is released. And, at that point, everything would have been done and dusted. He would have signed on the dotted line with the Saudis or not. But because events were moving so quickly, and I'd been hearing from people close to the Saudi Golf League, there's going to be an announcement the week of the Players Championship, which is only a couple weeks from now. It just seemed like we had to get this stuff out into the world so golf fans could really understand Phil's motivation and what was going on here. And so that's the whole backstory. But the record, the quotes were certainly on the record. Phil knew that. I knew that. And for him to say otherwise is disappointing.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.